Seoul Day 1 competitors. Up first, the pride of the LTA, now with their entire roster in person. Give a roar for Lyonz! In the top lane, Licorice. In the jungle, Oddielan. At mid lane, Saint. At AD carry, Hena. And at support, Lyonz.
Thank you very much, Kangas. I am going to talk to you, Audie, really quickly. The rest of you can go back to your seats. Thank you. In coming into this split, you guys did not have a lot of time to practice previously, had a big Korean boot camp. What is the team atmosphere like, and what have you guys improved on going into this split?
I mean, we improved a lot since the last time we played here. We all are excited to play right now. Like, it's been a lot of time since we take a stage again. So now we are really starting to play, and we're just gonna do our best.
And then I wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of sell your team and yourself to the crowd, right? Because we saw so little of you. So why should we cheer for Lyon?
I mean,
And you.
To everybody, to be honest, we all in the competition are doing our best to just show up. So I think not only us, every team is just doing their best. So just cheer for everyone you like, and that's it, no? Let's have fun.
You're so wholesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck today.
And their opponents on the Rift, holding the LTA North promotion slot. Give a toast to Disguise! In the top lane, Castle. In the jungle, eXyu. At mid lane, Abbedagge. At AD carry, ScaryJerry. And at support, huhi.
Hello, huhi. Thank you very much. The rest of you guys can sit down and chat with huhi for a minute. Hello. Welcome to another split of LCS/LTA. I heard you celebrated a birthday recently, so happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you.
And then going into the split, Disguise is another team that we're not able to see a lot of. So how was your boot camp like, and what was your preparation going into the split?
I think our Korea boot camp was really helpful for us to know each other. We get to know each other. We got to hang out a lot in a different country, learn a lot about each other, and I think I'm just really excited to pull that off on stage and show what kind of improvement we made.
I was watching your content and seeing some of the words that Castle was teaching ScaryJerry. Did you get in there and kind of try to fix that up?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like everyone usually teaches like bad words, but like, you know, like I did my best to not do that. But yeah, I think we just have like 4 funny guys. Like they joke around a lot, so you guys should all definitely check them out.
All right, all the best today. Thank you so much for catching up with me. Have a great game.
And that's your competitors for today. Disguise taking on Lyon, 2 teams that we did not get to see a lot of last split.
I mean, they got 2 weeks in split 1. That is it. So, yeah, I mean, they touched on the analyst desk. Lyon in particular had almost no practice leading into split 1. They had 3 days together as a team of practice. They had over 70 days leading into split 2. So both teams have had a lot of time off to really prep up, you know, in total.
23 times.
There you go.
Can I get some water?
What?
Water.
What?
Water.
Water? Water.
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 Saying water. You,
Water.
hey, you hit. Yeah.
Water.
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 You know, I could take a sip right now.
That's some synergy right there,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But yeah, they've had a tremendous amount of practice now since we last saw them. Some Hena fans from Korea showing up. Shout out to y'all.
Welcome.
For showing up here in LA to support Hena.
That's awesome.
Who has had, you know, a pretty good pro career. This is a guy that I think a lot of people are overlooking and not really expecting as much as they should be. You know, he is going to be, I think, individually extremely talented. I think that Lyon in general has a lot of really good individual players. People should be excited about Saint. Saint was actually considered to be one of the best prospects here Exactly, Saint and Hena, more fans there in the crowd. Saint was considered to be one of the best prospects in the LCKCL for mid lane. And talking to Chronicler and the guys who cover him there, they actually were expecting him to get an LCK spot. He had actually a much better time in the LCKCL than Quid, than Loki, than some of these other guys who have been doing really well here. Quid in particular, if you look at his trajectory, the sky is the limit for Saint. So to me, the real question around Lion is how can the team gel? How is their communication going to look? You have someone from Argentina, someone from Peru, someone from Canada, and 2 Koreans on a team. And, English isn't going to be as easy of that kind of like meeting point as it is for some other teams. So we'll see how well they've really been able to adapt. Because individually, I think there's a lot of talent on this team. The question is, how does it all come together?
Yeah, maybe water's a code word. Maybe that's like that means go in or something
Okay.
Adapt.
I can see it.
Well, we'll talk about adapting here in the draft because we have our first bands locked in, and wouldn't you know, Gwen locked in blue 1.
Going to be that first pick. We saw that last game as well. Did not work out for Thanatos. Even though individually, had a solid game, wasn't really able to find that big contribution in those team fights. Jax, an immediate answer here from Licorice. Considered to be a pretty good matchup that definitely can outscale. I do think the early game can be difficult still, but we'll have to see how he's going to be able to make it happen.
Plus, it's a melee top laner for the Sejuani, so you're able to help get those stacks up. Can be dangerous for the Gwen. We saw in that last game, C9 banned away the Jax so that they wouldn't have to play that matchup, but Kai'Sa will not get the same. You see the Katarina hovered right there. I think there's somebody in the audience that's going to appreciate that one, as instead it's going to be Varus locked in.
Yeah, Varus going to be locked in. Got the Los Ratones.
Los Ratones here.
Let's go.
Nice. And a good flow.
Okay.
Some guns right there. Nice.
We'll see if
How
it's
much
going to
you
be...
curl, man? How much you curl?
Watch out. Kangas is going to make you do his grip test.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't bring it with me today.
That has never happened before. It's the first for everything. We'll see if one of these teams can get their first big win on the stage. Of course, they did have individual game wins, but it was best of 3s in Split 1, so none of them got a series win. They didn't really get that kind of like celebration moment where you win on stage, so this would be a first for either team. And I was immediately wondering, is it going to be that double melee pairing with the Sejuani? We saw Silas come out from Saint last split. He has played 6 Yone games in his career, so this will be the 7th. And this is just such a strong top side now for them. And when you're looking over at Skarner, who has received a lot of nerfs, Skarner still had quite a pretty high priority at first stand, and if you play it really well, you can make it work. But I do think this champion is kind of weak now, and I do think that it's going to be almost impossible for them to win 2v2s, really in mid or in top.
What I will say is, scaling-wise, there's a lot of physical damage currently. You can just opt into armor here for the Skarner to become hard to kill.
Well, Jax has a lot of mixed damage, I will say. Jax does do a lot of magic damage, and we could see potentially Hena come out, with an AP bot laner, if they think that that is going to be a concern. So that is always an option on the table. But of course, there is quite good engage. You can also do things like, range AP support and things like that if they are really concerned about it. Going to be curious to see if that is the direction they do go. Instead, they are just kind of banning out some of these standard AD carries, and it is going to be Alistar and Azir joining that ban list. Abbedagge has always kind of been known as more of that kind of control mage style.
Yeah, typically. But what I will say is, because a lot of this game in particular, and the first 3 weeks here, it's going to be getting to know Lyon and DSG and their styles, because we did not see a lot of them last split. Already, Lyon is indexing into this strong topside style, but now they lock in the Neeko. You were talking about the potential of a support that has that AP range, and expecting that to go to Lyonz, that does fit the bill.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It's not exactly going to make the Skarner worried about stacking MR or anything like that, but still does bring a little bit of that mixed threat. Can be good engage, can give you a little bit of that power as you are coming in here, and it's going to be Victor in the mid lane for Abbedagge. Again, not really a big surprise. His 3 most played in his career are the Azir, the Orianna, the Rise. It's that sort of style that this does fit into. Gives him some pretty powerful team fighting, some really good wave clear, and it's also important to have wave clear in the comp when you do want to be playing through side lanes as well. Rakan would fit the bill for what they need. They do need some hard engage. Skarner can work but more so as a follow-up engage usually, rather than that primary engage. So I do think it's a really well-rounded composition here, and we're just waiting to see what the final pick is. And it's going to be Kai'Sa, so it makes sense. You know, you're just looking pretty much full dive here over on the Lion comp, which, you know, really does, again, make sense with some of the bans that they had here. Things like the Ivern, the Azir, the Alistar are really good as that counter engage, or tough to actually lock down. Something like Victor is a lot easier to find. You have two low mobility carries over on the DSG side, so Abbedagge and ScaryJerry are going to have to position really, really well.
Yeah.
Because if you get caught by any CC, any sort of stun, everyone else is going to be there and you're going to die instantly. So it is going to be very, very tough, and that makes, you know, huhi's job and eXyu's job and Castle's job really to be that counter engage and to create space and to prevent that follow-up from coming through. So I think we're going to get to see, you know, exactly how well coordinated Lion is with a comp like this.
Exactly.
Because it is all about timing those engages, all going in together, playing as one.
I'm happy to bring that up because this is the test. Can Lion pull off a composition that, while yes, on paper is terrifying, if they find that engage, you have to follow up on each other's plays, which means you have to be on the same page going into those plays. Whereas DSG, if they play more defensive, if they play back and just absorb the engage, try and win the fights after the fact, could be success for them. And speaking of huhi as well, talking about roles and players, huhi, a veteran on this roster on the Rakan, can make action happen for them.
He's going to need to. We'll see if he's going to be able to do it. I do think DSG have got to surprise us if they want to climb up the rankings here. On paper, this team does not look like it has a true carry, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is going to be the big question. That's going to be the big concern for DSG coming into this split. Can Abbedagge, can ScaryJerry, you know, really develop into someone that you can count on to carry games consistently? Because if you don't have that on the LTA stage, you're just not going to be a contender. That's the reality of it. You need your AD or your mid laner, at the very least, ideally both, to be able to be someone who can get you across the finish line and you can count on to win you games. I definitely see that potential more on the Lion side, at least on paper, but we'll have to see how much have they developed.
A game to reset expectations for both of these teams as huhi get chunked out. But I want to highlight the fact here, ScaryJerry has had a career in collegiate and NACL playing at the tier 2 level. His Varus win rate, very high. One of his best champions throughout his time in tier 2. So when you're trying to set up, you're talking about you need a true carry on your team to win in League of Legends. Getting ScaryJerry in something he's comfortable on, very important step one.
And it was the lone game win that they actually had in Split 1 as well, was on the Varus. So definitely agreed. It is really important, especially when you've been kind of struggling at this level. You know, he did not have a good Split 1, to be frank, but that it is just a couple weeks that he played, right? So it doesn't mean that he can't actually get there. Abbedagge as well, worth noting, is playing Grasp. So he's going to be playing Grasp, and Q start gives you a very strong level 1 here on the Victor. Auto, Q auto, and you're just going to be stacking up that Grasp, you know, making these trades really, really difficult to deal with for Saint. So Saint is just going to be playing this quite defensively. You can see he is playing Fleet. He's on D-Shield. I'm assuming it's also probably just going to be Resolve secondary for second win to really just kind of get through this early game, because it's all about, on Yone, you know, can you survive to be able to get your farm and get your resets in and scale up? And then you have threat, you know, once you're level 6 and once you have some items, you can really start to take these trades with the Soul Unbound, where you can kind of pressure these control mages. But if you are not in a good enough spot where you can actually threaten these really aggressive trades, then you kind of just get locked under your tower and beaten up.
Kind of like right now, he's heavily getting chunked. And Saint was one of the standout players from the Lions roster last split. So already off to a back foot here, but it is the range matchup for the Yone. Bot lane's working out for Lion, though, because they have gotten the shove, and it looks like they're about to get a second one.
Yeah, not a surprise there, is you do have huhi playing this Rakan pretty weak in the early levels, and you've got a Neeko over on the other side, so you've got that range advantage. You should have the push here, and Licorice kind of trades his health to try to get this wave in, but couldn't actually fully crash it. It's only 3 minions that won't actually result in a freeze. What will result in is a slow push. You know, maybe Licorice does lose a little bit, and he is worried about losing too many minions of experience. He wants to make sure he gets the TP back in to get the melee XP on those first 3 pushing out from blue side, so that's why he's going to commit his teleport. But Castle's going to have a much better buy if he can actually reset this wave with the help of eXyu.
And eXyu is on the top half here. If you noted, Licorice actually dropped the ward in lane to TV back to, so he's not going to have the deeper vision. Although there is actually a ward, I think that was placed by Audie, I would assume.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where it gets a little bit scary, though, for Castle, right? Because he did have the advantageous early laning, but their 2v2 is not great, and there's already a longsword advantage over on Licorice's side.
Sure.
So, you know, he has to be able to either, you know, collect the wave here or try to get it fully reset, because it's pushing away from him, and his jungler's also going to get pushed out. So
Ouch.
now with the wave pushing away from him, Castle's job gets actually really hard of how to navigate this, right? Because you're just going to be losing minions, and if you step up too far, you're going to be very nervous about a potential gank here. So Licorice can just kind of hold this wave and try to slowly build up his advantage.
And we also saw that eXyu had looked to contest. Saint fighting Abbedagge, doesn't quite have enough damage, but that was close. And now Audie actually going for a potential dive. Flash available for Castle. He's stunned up, flashes away. Arctic Assault has been used, but it's first blood regardless for Oddielan.
That's really well done there. Oddielan using his prio in jungle, being able to push out the Skarner from that side. And then even though Castle laned really well in the 1v1 early on, Licorice TP's back and has that additional buy, so Castle can't really crash once his jungler is pushed out.
Yep.
And then it's just a great path here from Oddielan, wraps around behind the tower.
And a big knockup there. Teleport in from Abbedagge. Welcome back to lane, Victor.
And that really sucks for Abbedagge because you TP right back, you lose half your health, and now Saint is going to teleport back with full health, so huhi's got to kind of come in and look for a little bit of bailout, help him reset. But again, this was spotted, so he knew he was in the area. I just think he was assuming, oh, he's going to try to come through Pixel, like, I'm going to be okay. So he wards Pixel, he says, all right, no problem, I'm fine. Did not expect him to come in from behind. The counter-strike lands, and then Oddielan holds on to that Q, he holds on to the flash. So even though you use the flash defensively, you're not going to be able to create enough space there. Really great pathing on the Sejuani, really great use of that prio, and this was definitely one of my big concerns for DSG.
Nice.
Okay, so we got water.
Agreed.
We got nice.
Nice, that's all you need. That was nice, he's not wrong.
Hey,
Accurate statement.
I love simple, easy to understand sentiments. Oddielan as
That's a
well,
pretty good
career record on Sejuani, very impressive. Actually looking for a play mid lane here, well buffered by Saint.
Yep, Saint going to be able to stay safe there, and Oddielan now coming in, so this
Oh,
could
he
be
hit
danger.
level 6! He goes up because he knew he was close enough and has Sejuani in his back pocket. eXyu flashes trying to get to safety. Saint has to go back in. Abbedagge doesn't have the damage to kill, and eXyu just barely lives.
And Abbedagge, if he was 6 there, it would have been so much worse for them, but he's about a minion or two off of level 6. eXyu should not be around here, though. He is so low on health, and Lyonz is in the area. Abbedagge now hits 6, so maybe he can actually use this to try to get prio and then come over.
Licorice and Castle, meanwhile, fighting bot side. Everyone's health bars are so low right now. It's Lyon currently on the grubs. Castle misses the snip, has the needlework. Licorice dodges the first, dodges the second, and does survive.
Yeah, just tagged by a bit of the third, had to flash the second there, but still great job by Castle. He has been winning in that isolated 1v1, you know, got the advantage early, obviously then gets ganked and gets killed, but to be able to force out that flash, this is a counter matchup. Jax, you know, can have some struggles in the early stages, but you know, definitely outscales in the 1v1. It is really hard for Gwen. It's definitely preferential, at least in solo queue. But Castle doing a great job, and if you can get ahead of where that Jax is, doesn't really matter how the matchup is supposed to go. He still has that teleport, so he TP's down towards bot side, already has the Haunting guys, and is going to be able to crash that wave on bot side, and potentially even help them get some prio, you know, around a dragon if they want to look towards that, or really, at the very least, just more kills.
But there's something I want to highlight. The fact that Licorice did not TP in. He walks down, will catch his wave. I wonder if he'll head back topside at some point here, because Dragon's up, and then you could have TP advantage to try and fight for that.
Well, he didn't have his teleport. It's just coming back up right now, so he didn't actually have the option. But it is definitely an advantage that they will have, right? He can go towards topside and answer there if he wants. When Varus shows topside, now it is a 5v4 potentially on this bot side, and they know it. Will Lyon try to actually force? DSG just going to say, you know what? All right, we give it up, and they're going to have to try to take a slight advantage on topside. We'll see how quickly ScaryJerry can push this out and if he can get some plates.
Saints trying to stand huhi for a bit there, but that's one of those moments. Rookie AD carry from ScaryJerry. If he just stays off of Fog of War, there's a chance that Lyon don't go in for that because they think, oh, it's going to be a 5v5 they have set up. But like you said, once he shows immediate answer, is it a plate? I don't even know if he's going to get a plate here.
Yeah, he probably will if he's in range, but it does get a little bit dangerous. And yeah, it's true. You know, if he just bogged a little bit longer, maybe they could actually play to finish if they think Varus is moving down. But at the same time, you know, if you knew Varus was on the top side anyway, he would have to show through mid first, so may not have worked out but then decides, you know what, actually I don't want to give up that plate, don't want to let it die to minions. So now up here with huhi, we'll see if they can look to go for another.
Oh, turret and Chain of Corruption as well. Licorice dodges out on the Q. You'd imagine that's the empowered one as well, so
yeah,
dodging a big chunk.
Yeah, that is actually really important. It's just a little bit slow there from ScaryJerry. I don't know if he used the ult early and his Q was just barely on cooldown or something like that. But obviously you do not want to be missing that in that situation. That is, 300 plus damage probably that you would have done on Licorice, and it would have put him in a point where he can't actually reapproach the tower. And on the bot side, Lion trying to keep this pressure going.
They're still poking though. Licorice does still need to be respectable up here. He just wants the XP for right now. It's going to be really hard to actually get the minions.
Yeah, no way he's going to go for minions in that spot. Oddielan looking mid lane though. Saint does have his ulti.
Ooh, and they land it. Chain the CC beautifully, but Abbedagge is still alive. Snaps back and he lives.
Nicely done, Abbedagge able to survive in that spot. Resolve definitely helping out a little bit. We'll see if Saint wants to go for it. I do wonder if Oddielan could have gotten a little bit more damage down before he just kind of backed out and tanked up that tower. Because when you look at the actual buy, it's just Zerker Greaves and a dagger. It's not like there's that much damage behind what Saint is doing. So he tried to allow Saint to finish him off, but maybe
Saint just does it himself. Well done. It was the setup just to get the health bar. Saint with the solo kill.
Yeah, Abbedagge pretty greedy there, and Saint definitely punishes. I mean, Abbedagge had TP, right? But he wanted to greed out, finish off the wave, didn't think he could be punished. Ends up losing his flash. Of course, it is a trade of flashes, but gives over that kill. Great job surviving the initial play, but then just went a little bit too far. Tries to hold on, gets tagged, gets taken down, and now Saint has that advantage. And equally, it is very hard in the early game for Saint, but if he gets ahead of the curve, all of a sudden, you're getting quickly towards that Blade of the Rune King. You start shrugging off all the poke, and then it just becomes this really nightmare scenario for the control mage where he can never threaten it all in. He's always sustaining back up, and every time the E is up, you're going to lose a bunch of health. And that gets really tough to deal with. So it is a very snowballing matchup, really, in either way.
And he's going to be healing up any poke damage that you land on him at that point because of the lifesteal of the Blade of the Rune King. So that is the big spike here for the Yone. As yet again, just pushing Abbedagge back. No gravity well anymore as the grubs are on the map. It looks like Lion are jockeying for it.
Yeah, they definitely would like to fight for it. They know they have that stronger mid laner right now. He's getting pushed on top side. But Kai'Sa still just winning out in that isolated 1v1, even after the gank, has maintained a pretty big CS advantage here. Up over 20 CS. Licorice kind of struggling to farm. And when he went up towards that top side,
Glacial Prison. eXyu's trying to keep his support safe. Lyonz doesn't have the damage. Now eXyu with ScaryJerry behind him are shredding through Hena and Oddielan. But here comes Kai'Sa flashing forward for the kill. 1 over to DSG.
Yeah, Kai'Sa with the TP does get a kill. Does cost him both. We'll see what Licorice can get on bot side, because now he gets some time by himself to try to collect plates. Gets at least 1, if not 2 plates there. Only saw him get the 1, but I wasn't sure if 1 was already down. Nice side step.
Missing ScaryJerry. Doesn't have the flash. He still has a cleanse. He's got everything. He should be fine here. Saint jumping over the wall, maybe predicting the flash?
I think he was trying to predict a flash there. Saying that ScaryJerry would flash from that position. Ends up not finding him. Could have probably just taken the forced flash instead of trying to go for kind of the bigger, flashier play in that spot. We can watch this one more time. This is a look here over on a huhi who's sitting at about 60% health. Oddielan does hit the initial interrupt there. And then great ulti from eXyu to really stop the follow-up, because Hena was the one who kind of needed to be able to get in and finish him off. But when he catches that double ulti there, Castle comes in with the TP, flashing forward. Lucky that Hena gets out as well. It's just great heal. And you can see Toast happy about that one. He's like, okay.
All right, we got one. Let's go. We're all about the short and sweet mic checks.
I didn't even hear anything.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not sure. Either way. Also, a quick note there, Hena did cleanse a little late there, so then also had the flash. So now down both summoner spells. This next dragon, it could snowball. Like, DSG could also get the next objective because of how hard it's going to be for Lion to fight now.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to keep themselves in a good spot. Again, they're up here on that top side. Saint looking to try to defend, but he's been doing a good job of just kind of putting on this extra pressure here up on the top side, using the demolish. He's gotten at least 2 demolish procs up on that top lane tower to help them chip it down, get those additional plates, and now eXyu up here as well. So they're just going to be giving the dragon on the other side, trying to trade for gold. He will get the big Krug, but he didn't get really many of those little ones, so Saint just continuing to fight here.
Now this
Lyonz is coming.
Yeah, Lyonz behind. They see the Sejuani, but do they read? There's also a teleport coming in, so we are just fighting. eXyu whiffs on the Impale, but they still have the damage. Abbedagge is taking turret, though. Does still live through it. Teleport completes. Licorice is in the fight, but so is ScaryJerry. Abbedagge is repositioned into the minion wave and will survive. Licorice almost dies. DSG get away with it.
Yeah, really well done there from DSG. They put the pressure on the Saint bot side.
Oddielan 1v1ing Castle. Interesting to see. As now top side as well. Licorice goes back in, and he gets punished. eXyu with the kill credit dies to the turret 1-for-1.
Yeah, we're going to be able to get that 1 point, but they're going to lose the tower very likely as well as ScaryJerry gets another, and Castle gets a plate on bot side. DSG getting a pretty big advantage up here as Lyon is getting a little bit fast and loose with it. I mean, they're kind of just taking these random fights without really the setup there. And it does really lead you to wonder how the comms are in some of these plays, because they go up there, they're trying to really force in this situation, but they don't have the damage kind of synced at all.
Hey! All right, Saints. Still flash on ScaryJerry, and now he will be forced to burn it. He held that for so long.
Yeah, it is going to get that flash out, so still good from Saint. We can watch... Oh, never mind. Thought we were going to be watching the top side play there. But, you know, they were able to get this TP in from Licorice. It looked like, hey, maybe they're going to be able to punish. But it was a really good job by eXyu and ScaryJerry chaining their CC. You slam him against the wall, and you hit him with the Chains of Corruption. So Licorice lost basically all his health, and the Counter-Strike expired while he was CC'd, and was never really able to do anything after that. And the lack of farm on Licorice is really concerning here. Only 90 CS, 15 minutes in on this Jax that is a champion that needs a lot of gold. Like, you do not have a tremendous amount of utility. You need to be in a strong point, and he just is not right now.
And also, they haven't quite pulled off the team composition goal. I mean, we highlighted it. This is a dive comp, and that fight topside, if Licorice finds the perfect flank, maybe they can pull it off. So they're looking for things, but they haven't pulled it off yet.
No, I mean, we haven't really seen Hena be able to actually get grouped up with these melees and dive in on the backline on one of these targets a single time so far. So we'll see if they can find an opportunity for that later on. But DSG opening up a 2,000 gold lead. It is Lyon with the 2 early dragons. They're going to be feeling really good about that.
And also, I see here that with that turret taken, now there's also the Feats of Warfare, or rather Feats of Strength buff for DSG. Herald's going to be up in 15 seconds, so that's where we expect to see action here. We have a reset coming in from Saint, so we'll see if huhi gets picked off.
I mean, honestly, if no one from DSG is going to answer Licorice, I don't think you should fight. I think you should just allow him to try to get pressure on that tower.
Now, instant cleanse from ScaryJerry, but it's not enough! Lyonz with the kill credit from that rocket belt, but either way, a pick for Lyon. Its teleport comes in from Castle, so DSG might be forced to keep fighting, but Lyon back off.
Well, they're going to lose the tower on bot side as well, so they TP in here when there's not really a play to be made. I mean, ScaryJerry shows on the midway without side brush control, gets punished for it. That is one of those mistakes you just can't make at this level, because it's not just the kill, it's the summoner, it's the fact that they can't actually do the Herald. They lose the tier 1 bot, and they're going to lose damage on the tier 2 as well. So Lyon gets so much out of this pick, and just like that, it went from a 2,000 gold lead to only 500, with so much of that, you know, really going into the pockets of Licorice. Multiple waves, plus that tower gold is going to put him in such a better spot than he was.
Yeah, Herald started up, don't expect to contest. So we actually have Raz on standby with this guy's Toast to hear about his thoughts on the game so far.
Toast, Toast, Toast. This has been a back and forth game. Please tell me your thoughts as you're co-streaming here.
I'm just really nervous. Every single fight, I'm like pulling my hair out.
Because like ScaryJerry got like 2 kills up topside. He was bringing it back, but it's been back and forth. You've been watching this team for 2 splits now. Is this every day for you?
It's every day. Like, they would scrim, and I would treat the scrims like real live games as well, and I would like be really happy when they win, and then I realized it doesn't really count.
I appreciate that, brother. You go ahead with your co-stream. I'm going to send this one straight back to the casters.
That's the first thing you learn as a League of Legends fan.
Yeah.
Scrimbucks, it's all fake.
They don't matter.
It's all
None
fake.
of them matter. Welcome to the league.
But luckily for Toast, he still has a lot of hair left to pull out. So.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That makes one person on the broadcast.
Exactly.
Out of all the ones whose voices you can hear right now.
Well,
if you're listening
Raz
to
has some too.
True.
Let's be fair.
True. Also, Toast, how's that welcome map that we gave you last split? Oh, he's distracted doing something else right now. Okay.
It's like he's streaming or something.
I know, right? Imagine. His team's playing.
Focus up.
Speaking of, we have Dragon spotting here in 20 seconds, so let's focus up on who is advantaged for that. We are seeing summoner spells available on everybody from Lion, but ScaryJerry yet to have his come back up and almost gets engaged right there. Is fine.
Yeah, not going to be able to find a go button just yet. And Licorice again pushing down towards bot side. Castle has no TP, so it has to be Abbedagge who answers. And Lion are going to summon the Herald here, try to crack that tier 1. If it gets a charge, it is a dead tower, and it should be able to get that charge. Saint's just going to kind of push huhi back. So Castle will get found.
Licorice finding Castle, and there's Hena over the top! They found the play! This is the power of the Kai'Sa, and they might find even more. Oddielan goes in onto eXyu, but now disengages with the rest of the team. It's just the one pick. That could be Dragon.
Yeah, and this is exactly what they wanted from Hena. Back-to-back plays, they're able to get him involved.
Huhi's still in there, and he finds Licorice, but now Lyonz! The Pop Blossom onto 4, and the rest of the team will clean it up. 2 more to Lion.
Oh my God, Lyonz on stage for his first game here in the LTA. He had to play remote last split.
Yep.
He's here, he's looking good. That Pop Blossom just tore the skies apart.
Lions, welcome to North America and welcome to the LTA. We have missed you 3-1-1 on the Neeko support with an insane find right there because DSG huhi almost found a big play onto Licorice, but then it gets turned around.
Yeah, I mean, it's the counter engage. The problem is there wasn't really a lot of follow-up. ScaryJerry and Abbedagge weren't immediately in range, and Lyonz uses everything there. W, flash, proto belt, gets in range. Oddielan comes in. Saint goes over the top with his ulti as well. They wipe the fight, they take the dragon, they get a tower, and they are just massively ahead now. It was a 2K DSG lead not long ago at all. Now it's about a 3K lead for Lion, a 5K swing nearly in just a couple of minutes, and oh my God.
And we see the difference that more time together has. Days together as a team. This isn't days practicing together as a team, mind you. This is days together as a team where they actually had the roster built. And neither of these teams had that much time to even know who they were playing with before they had to play on stage.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a huge difference, building that synergy, and especially, for Lion on their side. Lyonz wasn't even here in person, and I know they only had a couple of days practice, before that split 1. DSG did have their Korean boot camps. They had a little bit more time, but obviously still looking to build upon that. And looking for that consistent carry that they're really going to need to find if they want to start getting some wins here in the LTA.
And look, I'm just really happy that we did the Toast check-in before that play happened, because I imagine he's lost a few more hairs since then. Lion, 3 dragons with a 3,000 gold lead, now 2.5, but still, the point stands. They got the lead, and right now, the game's in their control.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and Saint is just kind of running away with it. Does have the shield bow, has the Blade of the Rune King, so it's very difficult to burst him down. It's very difficult to kind of chip him down, and he's going to become such a threat in the side lane. This is turning into a game where they just don't really have people who can kind of answer effectively in both side lanes. If Jax gets ahead and Saint gets ahead as well, then you're just going to be constantly pushing in these side lanes, and Abbedagge especially is always going to be vulnerable to getting collapsed on and engaged on this Victor, especially when he's playing from behind. Like, yeah, he has some merc tread to help deal with CC, but he is not tanky at all against what Saint is going to be doing.
And Castle's also just pushed in the bottom side right now, so Lion, they have a gold lead. They also have a lane priority in every lane. I mean, top as well. Mid's actually getting pushed out because they're on the Otacon. It's just now spotted, but...
Look where eXyu is, though. He's on Raptors.
Yeah.
It's way too little, way too late, so it's just going to be given over for free. I actually think that giving over Ruinous is way worse.
We got a Ruinous Otacon. Let's go.
Yeah, you actually get it a lot now. Ever since they made the most recent changes, it feels actually way more common than the GA variant. But the amount of XP you're getting from it, it's actually so big. The amount of gold that is worth, it's amping up all the dragons that they got. It's amping up, the passive stats you're getting from all the roses, and you pick up a tremendous amount. I mean, it's 8 roses here for DSG. I'm just waiting until the observer clicks on someone from Lion, and we can see how many they have. But it gives you
Who do you want them to click on? Which one?
Anyone.
Okay.
Because it shows the roses for the whole team, right?
True.
It's shared.
And I guess we don't have anybody stacking any abilities either.
Look at the XP advantages, right? Abbedagge just hit 13. Saint closing in on 15. Oddielan, halfway through 13. Halfway through, 12 for eXyu. It's all going to be like that full level advantage. You can see the XP differential right there. It's just massive, and it really accelerates the lead.
I'm not a jungle main, but typically I don't see the jungler with more XP than both opponents' solo laners.
Yeah.
That is a mark of how strong that Abbedagge is, and also how far ahead Oddielan is as Saint finds huhi, but Seal Unbound just gets back.
Yeah, I mean, he's farming very heavily this game and has been involved in most of their major plays, so Oddielan definitely having a really good game. And yeah, it is atypical to see them ahead in XP, especially when it's something like a Sejuani, and you see 49 roses there that have been grabbed up. You get so many of those just from picking them all up after you killed the Abbedagge.
Yep.
And they're now as well on Soul Point in 45 seconds. So DSG basically have to be able to win a fight in 40 seconds, or it's pretty much lights out. But when you're looking at item completions, it's still not 2 items for Castle. It's still not 2 items for eXyu. It's still not 2 items for really anyone except ScaryJerry, who has that kind of cheaper build. And it is going to be tough. We'll see if if Licorice or anyone kind of completes a major item to try to swing the fight in their favor.
Now I can see it go in one of 2 ways. If you're on the side of DSG, you're rooting for them to stop the Dragon Soul. It's going to come down to hope that they don't pull off the engage well enough, or that you find a pick. It's not going to be Licorice. He jumps away. If you're cheering for Lyon, you're just happy with what they're doing right now. They say we don't have to go straight to the Dragon on spawn. We can use the mid-prio to get a free turret before. And now DSG are a little split here.
Yeah, DSG, I think, struggling a little bit with the macro here. Giving up mid-prio generally is really tough now around Dragons, because now Castle can't even really respond to this. He has to answer the wave mid. Saint is just kind of chunking him down because Castle has no sustain.
And then Soul bounce back to the team. It's going to come down to a 50-50. eXyu has to find a way into the pit, dodges. The Glacial Prison flashes in, doesn't get it. That's Dragon Soul to Lyon, and that's eXyu falling as well. Hena repositions, Castle falls. All of DSG are falling apart, as Lyon will find 4, make it the ace with the Dragon Soul.
Nearly the clean ace. Licorice dies, burns down after he gets the kill, but they do get the ace. They get the Dragon Soul. They're pushing mid.
That could be it.
And even if it's not, it's definitely going to be enough damage to take this game later.
20 seconds on huhi, 20 seconds on eXyu. I imagine they do. All members still up, save for Licorice. 4 members strong pushing. Addie actually is channeling, so yes, that signals it will just be the inhibitor. Reset, go for the Baron. Look to end the game then.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a risky move to try to end from this spot, especially with Licorice going down. We can watch this one more time. eXyu just goes for the flip, but the setup for the fight is just so bad from DSG. They're not really located together. Like, Abbedagge is having 1v1 over here. Castle's at half health. eXyu flashes in. ScaryJerry's trying to get some damage down onto Audie, but as Castle goes over the wall, he's already half health, so he's just insta-dead. huhi tries to follow up there. He dies. Licorice gets the kill on the side. Yes, he ends up burning down. Just, I think, the dots from the Blackfire torch. But definitely tough.
Oh, no!
That's one of those smiles where it's like you laugh or you cry, That's tough. But Lyon crushing this fight. Definitely not close in the team fights. And now for DSG, it's 5.5k gold deficit plus the soul, which is another 4k in stats or so. And you can see Saint here finishing second in LCK Challengers. But more importantly, individually, he was such a beast. And if he can develop into a player the level of Quid or Quad, this team becomes a competitor. Just like overnight, you have a monster character.
Incredible mid laner to be compared to as Castle. Speaking of Saint, he's adding more to his highlight reel right now.
I see you. Level 16, smurfing on him. 3 level advantage now over Castle. Saint running away with this one. Monstrous gold lead. 2.2k there for the Yone in the mid lane. He's closing in on IE. They're already here over on the Baron. DSG, do they even attempt? Doesn't look like it. They're just going to try to push in mid, but Licorice is there. There's supers to contend with. They can't even get chip damage on the tower and trade, so they really can't do anything.
Yeah, it's all done but the crying here, it seems, for DSG. As Lyon, does he find the root? He does! Oh, ScaryJerry! Expertly played. Hena with the Void Seeker will get through the Banshees, and then everything else falls up. Or not Banshees, Edge still. Ridiculous.
Yeah, beautifully done there. They find another pick on ScaryJerry there in mid lane. Saint takes the tier 2 top. They're pushing on all sides now. They are looking to close in here and close out this game.
DSG will have to fight at the Nexus turrets. Super's pushing mid, and Baron and powered minions at that, but okay, Lyon are gonna back off. They want to play for fantasy points, everybody. Let's go. Give it up to Lyon. If you drafted their plays, you are happy right now.
I mean, they're definitely playing it very, very defensive. They're trying to make sure, you know what, let's guarantee it, take no risks whatsoever. And I can respect that. You know, it's the best of one, but I'm kind of saying like first series win in quotes, and even though it's the best of one, because obviously they won a game, but it was in a best of 3, which they lost.
At the end of the day, that doesn't add a 1 to your
Exactly.
record.
This will be the first time they actually get to get the dub on the stage, take a bow, do a winner's interview, and all that stuff, feel good about it at the end of the day. So they are trying to make absolutely sure here.
Yeah.
But 10K gold lead, Seoul, 2 inhibs down. It's hard to imagine they don't close this one out.
But what a historic moment that's going to be for Lyon. They are the LLA team that joined us here in the North with the restructuring. A whole new league, a whole new format. And now in the North Conference, they are about to pick up their first win, which will feel fantastic for longtime fans of the org, of these players like Oddielan, like Lyonz, South American players that will be cheering on these guys as they continue to compete here. It's 1 win in the books if they can close out here, but still that starts the momentum and that rewrites some of the history from Split 1. They had 3 days to practice before Split 1 started, and this looks like a much different Lyon.
Yep, it is looking a lot better, a lot more cohesive, absolutely, in some of these plays, especially towards the mid-game, the later stages of that game. Saint just going to be pushing in mid. They're going to, this kind of like 1-4 setup where Licorice is bouncing back and forth between the waves. Kai'Sa's going to try to make something happen.
Soul Unbound now has to Fate Seal defensively. huhi cannot follow him up, and there's no lockdown, but now Lyonz pounce onto huhi, finding the support, taking him down. It's a 35-second death timer as the rest of the roster is still up here for Lyon. Can they push in and close out the game? That's going to be 3 inhibitors down. And now they're teleporting back in their top laner with Supers pushing topside as well. This is the final touches for Lyon.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a Nexus defense here, but can't see it
Blossom
happening.
yet again. Everyone's flashing away. Everyone's going into stasis. Abbedagge still alive, still doing a lot of damage. He took down 1. Can DSG make a miracle happen? Hena over the top. Hena taking them all down. Hena tearing through DSG. Triple kill. Lions roar and get their first win in LTA.
What a finish there from Lyon. Flashy stuff from Hena. Taking down ScaryJerry in the fountain at the end of it. Saint and Hena really looking good, but I got to give a lot of credit over to the whole squad. They looked way more coordinated. Lyonz finding some great engages, you know, with his first game on stage. Oddielan, really strong early game. Some great pathing to try to put Licorice in a good spot here after, you know, they got that early advantage. He coordinated well with that top side, and they were able to execute on these fights. Yeah. And Lyonz starting off well.
Did we see growing pains? Sure, but the team came together, and I cannot wait to join Raz on stage.